The most common way teachers mark pieces of work, such as essays or draft essays, is by having students write their work, print it out and hand it in during class. Or students might hand in work as a Word document and the teacher will use Track Changes to mark it. But there is a more effective, personalised way to provide feedback. Here's an example. This is a piece of work that a student has handed in. They've written this draft essay and are looking for some support to help them improve their ability to write effective essays. In this example, the student needs a lot of help to structure their introduction. Trouble is, I've only got this much space to write meaningful feedback. I could clip another piece of paper next to it and try to point to it, but it does get messy. Plus, I have to lug a huge pile of work home, mark it, bring it all back to school, then spend 15 minutes passing each essay back to its author. So what do? I say, see me. That's because the best way to give students meaningful feedback is to sit next to them, talk them through their work, and coach them using the language that they can connect with, that you know that they'll respond to. This method is effective, but it's slow, it's inefficient, and it's becoming redundant. I'll show you why. Here's the same text, but this time it's written in Microsoft OneNote instead of Microsoft Word. I've still got spell check and formatting assistance if I want it, but what I have now is the ability to link in other files. So I'm going to create and drop in an audio file by navigating to the Insert tab and selecting Record Audio. Just one click and there it is. Now I can go through the text and mark it up like this, but I can also have a conversation with the student. For example, I could say, Sean, remember when we talked about the importance of introductions? The introduction is where you introduce the key points that you're going to elaborate on in future paragraphs. You had a great conversation with Sierra about how you were going to talk about Lloyd Daniels. I might say, this here needs some work. I don't think you thought that through as well as you talked about in class, but it's a good starting point. So I want you to come back and revisit that. Right, now I'm going to click Stop. Remember, I didn't have to collect up any work to do this because this is a shared OneNote notebook. I never have to pass the notebook back either because it will remain synchronised with the student's notebook. When a student comes along and opens their notebook, they can instantly see the feedback sitting there. This means the point of intervention is closer to the moment in which the student submitted their work, giving them feedback in almost real time. If a student sees this feedback and thinks, I want to know what needs thought refers to, let me jump to that. They'll see these little play buttons here. Let's click on this one. This here needs some work. I don't think you thought that through. Notice that as soon as I pressed play, it linked to the moment in which I was writing those notes. The student can revisit the experience of sitting down with me and having a conversation that will help them in their work. There's another way to provide this kind of feedback using Microsoft Word. Let's go back to the Word document or any different file format and record a video with Community Clips. Community Clips is a free download from Microsoft. Let's start recording the screen. Because we can use inking in all Microsoft Office software now, I can use a red pen and essentially have the same conversation as I did earlier. Sean, remember when we were writing introductions, etc. You can take your students through the same feedback process. You might highlight this and say, I love this part here, or you might explain that the purple means the student needs to come back and check for spelling errors. You can mark it up however you like. When you've finished, click Stop Recording and Community Clips will present you with the video you have created. I'll just name this file and save it to the desktop. Okay. You can then close Microsoft Word. You won't need it anymore. Click Save if you want to retain the marked up version of the document. The video I've just created is called Feedback. I'll drag that into OneNote like this. Voila. The student now has a fully marked essay with video feedback of the marking process for them to watch and review. Very powerful. No more gathering work, no more passing work back, and the students get a much richer and more powerful feedback experience.